West, the Lakers and Rockets will play Game 3 of their series tonight. That series even at 1 game apiece. I had Stephen A. with me here on Get Up yesterday, a game in which the Lakers bench outscored the Rockets 41-13, and here is what he said.
If you got two guys on the Lakers, and I don't care what two of the 4 or 5 it is, I don't, whether it's Alex Caruso, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Danny Green, Alex Caruso, Markieff Morris, or Kyle Kuzma. Of those 6, if 2 of your guys come on the court and they hit perimeter shots for the Lakers gonna win the championship. They don't do that, Lakers lose it. Period.
Interesting. And so as I bring Legs and RJ back into the conversation, we opened this hour talking about the depth of the Clippers and what they need beyond their big 2. Here's Stephen A. talking about what the Lakers need beyond their big 2. Richard, do you agree? They will need 2 guys a night to step up and knock down shots in order to win the championship.
Well, you talked earlier about oversimplifying something. And yes, that is an oversimplification of it. Ultimately, Anthony Davis, like Leg said, has to be dominant. If he is one of the most dominant guys on the floor and they have 2 guys of the 6 or 7 that they're doing it by committee, knock down shots, the Lakers are going to be very difficult to beat. But that's also why people aren't really sold on the Lakers, is because they don't even know if they're going to get 2 out of 6 on any given night over a 4-game stretch to win 4 games over a 7-game series.
Tim, I'd love you to help me with this, because they always say in the postseason the role players play bigger at home than they do on the road. And that was your job. And here we are now in a situation where there really is no home and road. So what have you seen thus far from the role players, the way the bubble is impacting that, and what effect do you expect it to have as they go forward?
Yeah, well, look, I don't think their roster is comprised in a way that you can count on that kind of three-point shooting that Stephen A. is talking about, whether they're home or road. They just don't have pure shooters. They've got streaky guys. They've got guys that can make it. Here's why I disagree with Stephen A. about that statement. Here's the thing. When you play a team like the Clippers, on a given night, it's possible that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George outplay LeBron and AD because they are on that level. They're stars as well. So if they outplay those 2 guys on a given night, and Kawhi has one of those 32-point games where he's incredibly efficient, Paul George chips in with 25, he's making threes, and they outplay their 2 stars, well, then the Clippers' role players are significantly better. It's the deepest rotation in the NBA. So I don't think it's as simple as a matter of, hey, if some guys make some shots for the Lakers, they're going to win it all. I think there are some things in their way to be able to do that. The problem they have is who out of that group are you certain is going to shoot a high percentage of open jumpers? I don't think they really have anybody on the roster. Kyle Kuzma is the most likely, but he has never really looked comfortable in this role playing alongside these 2 stars. So I think it's a lot more complicated than just some guys making some threes for the Lakers. The Clippers are going to have a lot to say about that, assuming they meet up in the conference finals.
Right. And so, RJ, again, both these teams have work left to do. Denver played tough last night against the Clippers, and the Lakers are in a 1-all series with the Rockets. But from what you've seen, if it is the All-LA Conference Final that we've basically been talking about since before the season began a lifetime ago, who do you favor based on what you've seen so far?
I stand by the Clippers. Sometimes when I watch the Clippers, though, they do look disinterested, right? Like they could have dominated that game last night. And when Coach Malone talks about having zero room for effort or zero room for error, that is true. But the Clippers have the ability to turn it up and pick it up. And I feel like they're only doing it in selected spots right now. But I still like the Clippers because they have the most depth of all the teams in the postseason.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.